What's going on, fight fans? I'm back here with another video here set for you guys. Gonna be talking about the top ranked card as of last night. Usually I'm on time with these things. Boxing fans, I know. I'm a night late. But again, we're gonna get through this recap and this reaction over with because I should have got it done last night. Anyways, one thing I do want to get in with before I get in depth with this reaction and breakdown. Obviously, there's some names of some prospects that I'm obviously not going to go into because I've never really heard of them before, nor do I really care about them, and nor do I think anybody else really cares about them. Um, but as a top ranked card, usually with ESPN, this was actually a stacked card. Usually as stacked as a card as it usually gets. They had pretty much all their big prospects that they usually have out there. And shout out to Keon Davis, the brother of Keyshawn Davis, who is a known headliner, headlined this, I would say what, like, it wasn't a pay-per-view card. I mean, if you have ESPN Plus, you kind of got the card for the free, I guess. But he's headlining. He's been main eventing. He's already a known name, a known prospect, if you want to get into reality. So he gets a nice TKO KO victory over Ira Johnson. Kind of a can, just be able to build him up, build up his prosperity, his name, his value, get him some experience in there, and have him in that high stage. And along with his brother also being on the card, I think it was a nice addition, especially with him getting the KO victory. Now, moving on up the card to a fight that obviously I'm going to be able to talk about, that I should be talking about, is Nico Ali Walsh versus Juan Carlos Guerra. Nico Ali Walsh, man, I haven't really been, really high on this guy's career. I haven't been on his ass watching every single fight that he's been putting on, but obviously has the late relative to Muhammad Ali. And he's pretty flashy. He's pretty good. He has a loss before on his record before he avenged that loss, got that win back. Was a close fight, and this was just another close fight against another competitor who has a decent record, who's also a prospect and also a no name for Nico Ali Walsh, and he has a split decision loss. Um, and obviously he is a known better name. He is, something that Top Rank is trying to be able to push. So if anything, they're trying to push the cards his way politically, if they want to align correctly. They want to get Nico Ali Walsh the victory, and he still wasn't able to pull out a victory. He is, as they say in the UFC community, he got fraud checked 100%. Um, got the loss on his record, but then he avenged it, which was really good. But then again, like, this prospect, no name, has a 7-1 record. It's like, brother, what are you doing, man? Like, there's not much to be able to hit home about. He's kind of like whatever now on the wayside for Top Rank, I would think, especially after this loss. So, yeah, I think nobody's really caring about Nico Ali Walsh anymore, or should have been, because losses like this, especially early in your career, I mean, yeah, you can be able to bounce back and, be a better fighter and get the experience and whatever the case may be. But I don't see that from Nico Ali Walsh. 100% do not see that type of grit, determination to be able to get better, move on, and be as talented as his relatives before him. So, yeah, moving on up the card, we have Abdullah Mason versus Manuel Jaimes. Man, Abdullah might just be that dude, man. He might just be that guy. He might cause a lot of problems. Very, very young. Also a known prospect. Was known for having like 4 or 5 fights last year and had like 5 knockouts in crazy, crazy performances out of Abdullah Mason. A lot of people see a lot of potential in this dude. Has a lot of power. Is very wiry and long. So it's kind of weird how he has this not strength but power in his hands where it's just deafening. You have Manuel Jaimes, whose last fight out he fought Rolly Romero and lost in a unanimous decision. Where Rolly Romero is, yes, he can be a troll, he can be pretty much an idiot. But he actually has some type of skill and he has some power in his hands. And he went the full distance and full length with Rolly Romero and lost that fight, obviously. But to get hit and knocked down by Abdullah Mason and get touched with that power and him to be able to go down, Abdullah Mason, man, he looks like he's gonna potentially be that guy. He can be a breadwinner for Top Rank or whatever type of company he's gonna be under in his future. But he looks and seems to be like something that they're gonna be wanting to be able to move forward with as a key piece for Top Rank, and he's showing out, man. He's getting more and more better competition, more and more experience, more and more fights. He's getting them put out very early. He's not really getting hurt, so it's not really much to be able to say. So the more and more he steps up his competition, the more and more impressive he's looking. Uh, Abdullah Mason can be able to skyrocket his career on another freaking level. Moving on up the card, we have the return of Jared Big Baby Anderson versus Marios Colias. Uh, Pretty much a can with a decent record, if we're going to be fairly honest about him and his career. But Jared Anderson coming off the loss against Martin Bakoli, where he got absolutely shell shocked in that fight, getting dropped multiple times and obviously getting knocked out. It needs more than just this. I mean, yeah, he needed this can, unfortunately, to get himself back into a rhythm. But he did not look good at all. He looks still very like weary. His confidence 100% is shaken. And he needs something like a Daniel Dubois resurgence where he can be able to get some wings under him, get some momentum his way to be able to push through. And I mean, getting him fed cans is not going to be doing anything for him. But I mean, a win his way, getting a dub in his face, and he can be able to say, all right, I got a win, on my record. Maybe I can have some positive momentum and to be able to, I guess, up the competition next and get a better name. But yeah, Jared Anderson, very concerning in his performance because, yeah, he got knocked out nasty last time, and he's not looking very good against a can. Couldn't be able to get him out of there, where usually he is able to get most of the cans he faces out of there. Yeah, hopefully next time they can be able to book him correctly, book him right, and still, kind of slow build his way back into it. But yeah, he definitely needs something to swing back his way, and hopefully that win or just seeing that he won was enough for him. But yeah, and now we're gonna go and talk about the co-main event, which was Xander Zayas versus Slara Spomer, an undefeated fighter who was from Germany, and you obviously have the prospect of Xander Zayas representing Puerto Rico. Um, and just another impressive performance out of Xander Zayas. His last performance was really, really good. He really needed that bounce back performance, especially the previous performance that he had. He didn't really look good to me at all. But this one is another great performance that he can just add on to his record and his resume. Slara, not a really big name, not really known, and nobody really cares about the dude. But again, undefeated fighter, tough cookie, never fought and never lost in a fight. So obviously, the only thing he knows is to win. So he wants to be able to keep that, positive record, and that he obviously still has. But Xander Zayas, man, the skills pays the bills, baby. He looks absolutely great. His defense to offense, being able to switch on his jab was absolutely effective throughout this fight. The body work, the power shots was actually exchanging with Slara. I'm actually kind of glad that he got clocked and wobbled with the shot. I think it was like an overhand right that kind of like hit his temple. Obviously showed that he was wobbled, but was able to get through it and recovered actually really well. So I don't think Slara had any type of power to be able to worry Xander. That's the way that he was actually fighting throughout the entirety of the fight. So that really didn't affect him much. So, um, the only thing that's really holding Xander back is that he has no real power. Even though he did get the TKO, he had to land so much and accumulate so much punishment against Slara to really get him out of there. And eventually he did. So it wasn't like he didn't. But he doesn't have that one punch KO. He does have tremendous skills, though. He has great speed. He has some type of power, but obviously, again, he doesn't have that one punch KO. So I think he still needs more experience, still needs more bump ups. Um, and I don't want to put him in there against a power puncher because I feel like they would eventually get Xander out of there. I think his boxing is very, very well, but not to the point where he's not going to get touched on his chin, and he can be able to just withstand that and continue to be able to go throughout with the fight. So yeah, Xander is looking very, very good, putting on great, great performances, and his momentum is going the way that he wants to get to. Potentially, maybe in the future, if Virgil Ortiz in his next fight loses to Idro Majimov, which will be next week, um, maybe that can be a potential matchup because that was a matchup that they were actually thinking about potentially having when Virgil was supposed to fight Jaron Ennis, but Ennis pulled out, and then they were talking about Xander being in. So maybe that's something that they can be able to make in the future, especially if Xander continues to be able to look well. I mean, why not? Mexico versus Puerto Rico, great rivalry. Who wouldn't want to be able to see it, especially out of these two great boxers in their respective divisions? Now, moving on to the main event, we had a fight that I actually put on my most wanted to be able to see fights in 2025. Keyshawn Davis versus Dennis Berinchyk, the step up that I think Keyshawn absolutely needed in his career to be able to push him forward uh, and really have the name and really have that experience under his belt to be able to say that he is a champion in the 135-pound division. Against Dennis Berinchyk, who his last time out won the belt against Emmanuel Navarrete, who I think is absolutely trash, but somehow absolutely dominated Oscar Valdez. But you had Dennis Berinchyk, who was in a very boring performance, but outdid and outboxed Emmanuel Navarrete pretty, clearly. Dennis Berinchyk looked absolutely horrendous in this matchup. He looked completely outgunned and outskilled in this fight against Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis, from the onset, looked like he had the answers to the test 100%. Really, really impressed out of his performance. He really passed the test 100% to be able to get over that hump and show that he is that type of caliber of boxer that a lot of people believe that he still is. Said he's not going to be able to fight Shakur Stevenson because of the camaraderie that he has built and the friendship as well, along with having the mentorship under Terrence Bud Crawford, where they're both kind of under that mentorship with Terrence. So that's kind of out of the question, but the guy that's also the big name and face of boxing as of right now is Gervonta Tank Davis, and everybody's going to call his name, and he has a fight on March 1st, which is going to be coming up soon, so hopefully he can be able to get past Lamont Roach, which obviously looks like is going to be a pretty much secure done deal that's going to happen. And you also have Lomachenko, who's bubbling with rumors of retirement, and maybe just taking a long layoff. Who knows? But maybe he can be able to return to the ring, which would obviously be another great step up for Keyshawn, but I don't think he gets the job done, in my opinion, against Loma right now. But against Denis Berinchyk, against the fellow Ukrainian that's, also Lomachenko as well, he just completely just nullified anything that Denis Berinchyk had for him. Keyshawn Davis, I mean, he looked really, really good, man. I think he is very chinny, though. He has times where he just jumps in and leads in way too much, leave his chins exposed. I completely can't see if he does have a matchup against Gervonta Tank Davis where Tank just like chin checks him and gets him out of there. But Keyshawn Davis is the truth, man. He has tremendous power in his hands, bar none, no question about it. He gets the majority, if not everybody, out of there that he gets in there with. And that's very, very impressive, especially against a champion and undefeated fighter as well, and Denis Berinchyk. He got out of there, who's also a Ukrainian as well, as I mentioned before, who also has a great pedigree with boxing. Look at the Loma, you look at Usyk, you can already know and tell the pedigree of the Ukrainian boxing gyms and realms in that region of origin that they have is absolutely tremendous. So Dennis looked like absolute shit, and Keyshawn Davis looked absolutely amazing, but there is flaws there, 100% that they can be able to get exposed. I still think that he needs more time to be able to get through it, get through the kinks and get the things that he needs to be able to get done to really, really solidify himself and get himself prepared to be able to go against the bigger and better competition. But Keyshawn Davis, man, impressive performance again. Not much I can be able to really say besides that. More step ups for him, 100%. That's what we need. And if he continues to get more knockouts and more impressive performance like he did last night against Dennis Berinchyk, we were looking at a star, man. So shout out to Keyshawn Davis, and obviously like this video if you like this video, boxing fans. Comment your opinions on the fighters and the prospects that I got throughout the entirety of this Top Rank ESPN card. That was actually pretty decent. I'm actually surprised Top Rank actually went all out with this card and their prospects, but it was nice to be able to see. And subscribe, boxing fans. I'm here throughout the entirety of the year. You know I got you. I got you, baby. You got me. Subscribe. I'm here. And you are here as well. Thank you guys again for watching again, and peace.